Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 454. This is A Yank on the Footy coming to you from Sandusky, Ohio. Thanks for checking out the episode. And I am joined by my mate again, Mick Aussie, as we're going to be chatting the gather round, round five. Mick, how you going, mate?
Oh, sorry, I was just listening to a bit of Kylie Minogue, the hot Aussie bird who will be playing the pre-game of the AFL Grand Final. What a great choice, man! We grew up with her, and woo, good choice, eh?
Well, I'll be honest with you. If you ask me to name three of her songs, first of all, I probably couldn't pick her out of a lineup. I have no idea who I mean, I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about her. Not my genre of music, unfortunately. Neither was last year's choice. Or I don't know. I was a big Meatloaf fan, but he kind of he didn't set the bar. He kind of I think he consumed the bar before he performed. Uh,
Yeah, well, Kylie was famous on a TV show called Neighbours, and then she came out with this music, and then she actually went out with Michael Hutchins from In Excess, and he
hmm
kind of he kind of corrupted her a little bit in a good way, but
How do you corrupt somebody in a good way? Let me
oh, she
let's
was pretty young and straight laced, and I think
okay.
he might have popped her cherry. Not sure, but
Oh
you
my
know what I'm
God.
saying.
Oh my God. Well, folks,
Not sure,
I
but she was very young and innocent, and he
uh,
went out with her. And
okay.
I'm talking good. I'm not talking bad.
No, well,
She's a beauty, mate. She's a
oh,
beauty.
I'm not saying I'm not disagreeing. I've seen the picture of her, but yeah, well, um, coming up on the
I've rattled you.
you've
I've
rattled
rattled
me, and,
you.
and I did not realize that we have moved on to doing this show on Bravo TV. My wife might actually listen to it now. So uh, we've had a couple things going on. It's the first weekend in April coming up. Really the first um, full weekend. We'll have all nine games coming up and gather around. We're going to talk about that. What's got you fired up this week? Because there's some things that have been going on, and I know you've had some fun with this. And I will let you know that I am clean shaven as of today, but it took a couple days since I'd shaved my head. But you've been fired up about some other things as well.
Well, first of all, I got some fired up things, but first of all, that was amazing that Bailey Smith or someone from the Cats watched our show last week and recognized what I was saying about the headband boys is ridiculous. So I can't wait because we're recording this on Sunday afternoon. I
Right.
can't wait until late tonight to see if Bailey Smith has shaven his head or not, because I did see a picture on the internet, but you don't know what to believe. So at
Yeah.
this stage, I hope he has, and I hope he listened to our show and he shaved his head so that ridiculous headband and the long ridiculous hair doesn't get in his eyes. So we'll wait and see, eh?
Well, yeah, and I have to admit, I think and this is again very heterosexual man saying this. I think he's more handsome with the head shaved.
I don't like the stupid moustaches on these kids. I got a goatee. Mate, unless you're a policeman, why? Who wears moustaches anyway? Let's move
Well,
on. But yeah,
okay,
what's got me fired up? Oh yeah, always a couple of things, eh? Oh, here we go. I watched the Crows and Dockers game,
uh-huh.
and we might have briefly mentioned this last week, but Sam Newman mentioned it as well. This drives me nuts. On two occasions, Jordan Dawson kicked a goal, and he's our best player. And the coach dragged him, took him off straight away afterwards. Same with, I think it was one of the Dockers players as well. Straight off, best player.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I hope some coach breaks that mold, because if you're on the forward lines, you don't need to be interchanging all the time. It's absolutely bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a lot of you certainly don't see the defenders coming off. I know that when I do the preview episodes, and we always talk about who led your club in time on ground percentage. It's almost always a key defender that's back there, that's
Yeah.
leading time on ground there, and or it's been a forward in a couple of instances, that just kind of gets up front and just kind of parks himself, in the forward line near the goal square, and I'm here when you're ready to get the ball to me. But yeah,
Yeah.
I've never really understood that. I didn't think it was
It's
something that was
ridiculous.
mandatory, but it was, what,
It's stupid.
you know,
Stupid. Too many interchange. It's just bullshit.
so would you would you reduce the number of interchanges to begin with?
Absolutely. If I was coach, I'd be leaving the best player on all day, rest
Yeah.
him in the forward lines. You wouldn't take him off at all. Nick Dacos doesn't need to come off. Rest him at full forward. He's so good. Same with Dawson. Rest him at
Yeah.
full forward, forward pocket. And I'll tell you what else pisses me off. I've got one more for you. You watch more footy than me. I mean, I watch as much as I can.
Yeah.
But I just noticed this. The Bombers Dogs game was on TSN today here in
Hmm.
Canada. I was just watching it now. The boundary umpire came in like 4 meters inside the line to throw it in. That's country footy shit where you got someone just filling in, throwing a boundary ball in. Does that happen all the time or not? It looks
Yes,
amateurish, mate.
I do see that quite a bit, and I will. I think I can safely say that it appears as though the boundary umpires who may someday want to become an interior umpire. I don't know. Is that how that line of progression works? Where the boundary umpires will maybe
No,
be in that position
no,
where they maybe move
no,
inside after a few years as they gain more
no,
experience? Okay,
no.
because it seems like they spend a little more time working on their cardio rather than on their overall core strength. Because it seems like they can't throw the ball far
Oh,
enough,
I was
inwards.
shocked. I was shocked. Honestly, it looks like country footy when you get a 15 or 14-year-old kid to do the boundary
Yeah,
and pay him 40, $50. Like,
yeah.
and you got to have someone throwing it in decent, but top level AFL, stand on the fucking boundary line and throw it in high like you always have for the last 100 bloody years.
Well, now that they've changed the rule for when the ball goes out of bounds, when it's not inside the forward or defensive 50, where it's last touched, maybe they could do that because then you're getting a free kick from that point to where, if it gets tapped out again real quickly, the team that taps it out, the other club's going to get the free kick. Then you're eliminating maybe some of the throw-ins that you would even need then. So maybe you've got an idea there. Put them back on the boundary. If the ball goes out of bounds, the other club's going to be getting a free kick to put it back into play anyhow. And the game's going on, and that person doesn't have to go wandering into the field like they're, one of the trainers that's whispering directions into the midfielder's ear.
Well, let's move on. Let's move on. But when did it first happen? It's the first time I've seen it
Oh,
today.
I've
Maybe it has
noticed that.
happened.
I've noticed that. I noticed that a lot. That the boundary umpires tend to step in, especially in the middle part of the ground. Not so
Yeah, but
much.
what, the last season or this season
Oh,
or what?
I don't recall it not being that case.
Okay,
As
all
far
right. It's
and
just
if you're
something I've
listening,
probably just
if you're
noticed.
listening, maybe I just haven't picked up on it. But I've certainly noticed that they do come in. It looks like they come in at least 5 or 10 meters, onto the ground to throw it in. Then they get off the ground and get outside the boundary right away.
The only
Yeah.
thing I could think of, the only reason I could think of is they come in, still throw at the same good height and distance,
Hmm.
and then the play starts more towards the center of the ground, which could open up the game. That would be the only reason, because they're definitely not as strong as they used to be, or they would definitely practice the ball throwing in at practice a lot, and
Yeah.
boundary umpires have to be fit. So, yeah, that's something I haven't noticed before, but maybe it's just me, right?
Yeah,
Right, where are we
I
going
think
now?
so.
Let's
Yeah,
move on.
so I don't think we really need to necessarily talk about coaches under the blowtorch again this week. Brad Scott's club played a little better, especially in the second half today. Um, you know, uh, Michael Voss's team had another collapse. I know they said they plan on keeping him throughout the entire season, but I just don't know how that's going to work out. If they, I think Carlton is not a really good side right now at all. Quite frankly.
Well, you changed your pick last night, so you
I
got to
know.
go by gut feel. You
Yeah.
had gut feel that Demons were going to win. You changed your
Yeah.
pick. I had gut feel last week that Roos were going to win, and I nearly changed my pick during the week to
Hmm.
Carlton because I thought they would recover, but
Yeah.
they are pathetic. Well, they down by so much, and the Roos come up and beat them. I watched the
Ruse,
last
Ruse were
quarter of
down.
that
I think
game.
Ruse were down 22. I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
and came back to win that. But I'm seeing some of the stuff on social media that were interesting. And these all came off of X, which you're not back on, but um, some a Magpie supporter, saying that the Tigers fans in the crowd still wearing their Premier's tops from 2020. Now, you know, if your club won a premiership in 2020, why can't you? I mean, for those of you who are on audio only, the thing that I have that's in the doorway of the closet where I record is a premiership flag from the Cats from 2022. Am I supposed to take that fucking thing down because there's an expiration date on it? I don't think so. I'm sorry, but
Nah, that's silly. That's silly. That's silly.
You grew up in Australia and you've had your finger on the pulse of this game for much longer than I have, but to me it almost seems like Collingwood supporters are an awful lot like New York Yankees supporters in Major League Baseball, that they kind of have this air about them. They've won 16 AFL VFL premierships and such, but they've not won that's not a huge amount in the great grand scheme of things overall throughout the history. But they last won theirs in what, 2023, I think. 23.
Well, they lost a lot in the VFL. That's why they're called the Collie Wobbles, but now they're called the Dob and Swooping Bastards. But they lost. You look at the records in the 70s and 80s, they lost a shitload.
I heard. I did some digging in. They struggled for a while. Yeah. I did see a couple of other things. One person said that, we have big clubs in Essendon and West Coast who aren't even close to being AFL standard, and they're bringing in another club. By the way, this could get ugly.
Yep.
And then another one said Victorians are going to go into meltdown with Carlton, Richmond, and Essendon all at the bottom. The game is ruined. Vibes are already starting to bleed through. Do you think that, I know we've done suppositions on where we think the 20th side might go, but with them bringing Tasmania in 2027 or whenever Eddie Maguire allows it to come in, do you think that there's going to come a time where maybe they end up folding two sides together to get back to an even number again and maybe eliminate one of the clubs in Melbourne or merge two of them in Melbourne?
I'm going to give a slight different opinion to what I normally do. Normally, I just say keep it at 18 because the standard is dropping, but I might go a slightly different tact here.
Mm-hmm.
With so many young kids still playing Aussie football and the skill level is incredible. I mean, look at that pass that Luke Parker did near the end of the game. It was absolute beauty that even the legend Jason Dunstall cracked a fat on.
Mm-hmm.
It was fantastic. So the skill of the passing to players is top notch.
Right.
So there's plenty of kids with skills like that. Maybe it's just the fact that the AFL got to stay on top of these coaches because the AFL change a rule, then the coaches outsmart them, and then we still have 90% of the players around the ball. So that's my issue, is the rules of the game. And you look at the Crows. They're terrible early because they don't attack the ball. Then they're down and think, okay, well, we better run and attack, and they bloody come good.
Yeah.
Like Collingwood did when they won the flags. So it's the coaches. The coaches piss me off, to be honest. I reckon nearly every coach, except for one or two, pisses me off.
Is that because they outsmart the system, if you will?
Yes, they outsmart the system. They follow each other like friggin' whatever. And with the interchange, just break the mold. Leave Nick Dacos on for the whole game. Leave Jordan Dawson in the forward pocket like we used to do in the good old days. And you talk about the good old days, and it's true. Sure, like I said, the skill level and the pace of the ball is fantastic.
Yeah.
But there's some real areas of the game that really fucking piss me off, as you know.
Yeah, I do. And but don't clubs though want coaches that are innovative, that are able to take advantage of the rules that are in place? I mean, I think even though we may be frustrated by it, we want, if the league has put something in place that's going to allow this particular outcome, and you can figure out how to use that outcome to your club's advantage to get either more points on the board or prevent the other club from scoring points, I think you as an individual club would want your coaching staff to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But they outsmart the AFL, and it's still too slow. Like, don't allow backwards kicking. Play on if it's backwards kicking. I think Andrew Jarman said that, or Blighty, I can't remember.
I agree with
good
that.
On this Stephen King for the Demons. I haven't watched a lot. I've watched some of the Demons, but good on him. He's doing well. Like, Demons, it surprises. And good on Stephen King, not the author, the coach.
Well, I mean, where did he come from? There you go.
Oh, yes, he did, didn't he?
Yes,
Didn't
he
he
did.
nearly get the Dockers job, but he got sick or something when he flew across there? That was the story. I
Was it
remember that.
Dockers or Eagles? Because I thought he might have been up for the
Yeah,
Eagles. Yeah, it
Eagles.
was the
Sorry,
Eagles job I
Eagles.
thought he was up
Yes,
for. Yeah,
Eagle. You're dead
I,
right. Eagles. Yep.
would they be in better shape now than they are with McQualter as senior coach? I don't
Oh,
know
I
the
don't
I
know.
mean, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
We can't really, he may not have gained, the requisite experience that he would have taken forward into doing what he's doing at Melbourne now in that one less year with the Cats. But
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles have become a little bit more watchable, I think, despite what happened against Sydney, because Sydney's coming off a 16-day break. The Eagles, coming off winning 2 games. I mean, the Eagles just they got steamrolled. I mean, I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch that one, and I'm thinking to myself, this was a really dumb decision on my part to do that. But I was already up,
Yes.
so I stayed up. So I did watch the whole game. And I got up this morning at 5, and I went ahead and watched the D's and Suns game. I've not watched the Bulldogs game as of yet, but I did see that Tim English did his knee, which is not, and I don't know how severe it is because I saw a picture of him on Code Sports where he was kind of crouched down like a baseball catcher, but I don't know if that picture was taken before or after the injury. So I don't know the severity of his knee injury. So I'm, only concerned about that because he's my starting ruck on my fantasy team. And the
You
Bulldogs
are the
are,
craziest AFL fan ever. I reckon you watch more AFL than probably anyone in Australia. But anyway, we've got to move on. We've got
yep,
nine games, haven't we?
we do, yeah. So we're not going to get into your media minute this week per se, but I'm going to have you. You are the media person this week because the AFL is coming to your hometown. And I believe you've played on all of the. I don't know if you. I think you told me at one time you did play games at the Adelaide Oval at one time.
Yeah, I played
Yeah.
there with
Um.
Woodville. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you've played at Norwood. You've played at Barossa Park, if I'm not mistaken.
I played at Barossa Park when I was under mini league for Hamley Bridge, and then under 15s and under 17s,
Mhm.
and then the team Lyndoch combined with Williamstown, and they played all their games at Williamstown. And then I think about 10 years ago, they upped the Lyndoch Oval a bit better, and then they spent all that money last year. And I'm going to share the post from last year's show I did
Mhm.
with Bobby Bilney, and we were out there like a week before the gather round. It was
Yeah.
just the finishing touches. So
Yep.
pretty funny video too that we
Yeah, it
kind of
was. It
snuck in a
was.
little
Yeah.
bit.
So I want you to be our tour guide for those people who are maybe making their first foray to Adelaide for gather round. What are some of the places around, around the Adelaide Oval, around Barossa Park, around Norwood that people should maybe make sure they get to in terms of like a watering hole or a great restaurant that you might recall? Because I know you don't get there as often as you'd like to anymore, but what should they see while they're there?
Well, I watched my show from last year. That'll
Yeah.
be one thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, it depends what age you are. What do we want to cater for? The young male? Should we cater for that or what?
Well, you started out with Kylie Minogue, so I think you've already set the direction we're going with that there. So
All right. Well, Adelaide Oval is obviously walking distance to downtown Adelaide across the big bridge, new bridge, walk bridge they built, and I filmed that. And then downtown Adelaide is obviously the pubs and nightclubs, which has changed a bit since I was living there. Glenelg was one of my favourite haunts. Nice beach, beautiful big grand hotel. We used to chase the Aussie birds, especially on a Sunday night. So that's still a happening place for pubs and nightclubs. Is Glenelg spelt backwards, exactly the same. Norwood Oval, small. When I was playing, it was smaller, but I think they made it a little wider. Norwood's like a suburb, a bit of a richer area just east of the city. And
Mhm.
then Lyndoch is the one of the first towns as you enter the Barossa Valley, and then you continue on along that road to Tanunda and Nuriutwa, which is fantastic. Love playing at Nuriutwa Oval, beautiful oval. Tanunda was a bit smaller, so that's the real wine country. And the famous wines you'll see, one we get here is Wolf Blass. Penfolds is a big name, so the wineries are good, and some great bus tours we used to do up there on a Sunday, especially with a gourmet festival. So there's a few things. Oh, and down south is McLaren Vale. And here you go. Our family had a Easter Saturday lunch at McLaren Vale at a pizza restaurant. And Dad was telling me they're sitting there. And one of your favorites, Isaac Rankin, walked in with Matty Crouch. So there you go.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So I know that that this is wine country in Australia. Is it, with the time of year it is right now, is we're getting into fall there. Is this when, new wines are coming into the marketplace and that sort of thing for people this time of year as well?
Oh, look, you've got me a little bit. They would have already done the harvest.
Right,
So
right.
they're probably the grapes are probably bare by now, I
Yeah,
would
but I'm
believe. But
saying
you
that
tested me a little bit.
but what I'm saying, they've got the grapes picked, the wine is already in the bottles or in the casks and that sort of thing, and maybe you can find it at your favorite watering hole then.
Oh, tons of wine, and the export market's been huge the last probably 20 years.
Yeah. Okay, because like I said, I'm not much of a wine guy. Of course, I'm not much of an alcohol guy. Period.
Yeah.
I don't have much tolerance for it. If I drink more than one beer, I would fall asleep as it is. So yeah, I've got no tolerance for
I'll keep going for another 9 after that.
Yeah, well, that's yeah. You can yeah. We buy a 12 pack, and 10 and a half of them are yours and one's mine. Yeah, I had a buddy I used to play golf with where we go out and play 18 holes, and this was before I can't swing a golf club anymore because I screwed up my arm, but he'd drink a 12 pack of beer, and I'd have a couple, Diet Cokes, and he'd go out and shoot a 75, and I'd shoot an 87, and
Yeah.
and I ended up having to drive him home because it was yeah, it was he was a good golfer. Yeah.
I don't
So
drink very often, but when I do, I give it a fair shake.
yeah, it's just not something I've done well with. So I don't and when I do have a beer, I mean, I like a really like a good stout or porter. Like I like dark beers, but
Yeah.
I don't do it often.
Yeah.
So yep. So we got 9 games for the first time this season to get into. It's round 5, and this is the first round where we've got all 18 clubs playing, which is crazy. And what's even crazier is the fact that I think that they've hamstrung your opponent. Besides, I think they hamstrung your club again because I read that where they'd played like what was it, like 4 games in 20 days or something like that.
Who, the Crows?
Yeah, they played a number, or like 3 games in 12 days or something. It was a really packed in, shortened time frame where they played several
Don't use
games.
any excuses for them. Don't
Well,
use any excuses. We're
well,
1-3.
right. But I understand that, and I'm not really trying to use the excuse, but I'm saying is they also have the Crows leading off gather round this weekend. They're also playing the first game of gather round against Carleton.
Yeah, look, they're favored by 28.5. I thought they'd win by 36. I'll give them the minus. Oh, look, Peatling played very well, but he needs a haircut. You notice his hair was in his eyes. He might have got a couple more possessions and clean kicks if he had his haircut. McAndrew was good. Oh my God, Riley O'Brien mucking up that kick, kicked in the opponent on the mark, and then Docker's got a goal. I tell you, he's been average. Pedler, Saliga, Jones, and Keys. I like Keys, but they've been average. Fogarty, he was injured, but Andrew Jarman agreed. He has been playing very average. Rochelle had another good game, and Dawson and Miller. I'll take Crows to win and cover. But yeah, our on bowlers, like we've said, we got beat out of the middle bad by the Dockers.
Now, I hate to bring up their game this past week, but and I think that as a footy fan, even though it did not help your club, that Josh Tracy dribble kick at the end of the game was, I'll tell you what, that was, I'm going to use a technical term here. That was fucking awesome. I'm
You
sorry.
cracked the fat, did you?
That was that was a thing of beauty. Eddie Betts had to be somewhere going just applauding that one because that was an absolute thing of beauty.
Yeah, it was, wasn't
Because
it?
that was from like looked like it was like 30, 35 meters out. I mean, it wasn't like
Yeah, oh
a
yeah, I saw it.
I mean,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
and it was from a pretty tough angle.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, and like I
Yeah.
said, I hate to be bringing it up. I'm going with the Crows to win this one also. And no, I'm not going to be sending you an email the night before telling you I'm changing my tip to the Blues. Okay.
All right.
I've got them winning by about 5 goals as well, and that's again, I tend to be a little conservative on that. I think it's going to be more. And then we've got the Magpies and the Dockers back at the Adelaide Oval. We'll see if Dacos is back in the lineup for the Magpies. A little bit of a calf niggle last week. It looked like that. He wasn't able to get it loosened up, but I'm going with the Dockers to win this one by about 2.5 goals. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I've got him to win. Just shows that the dobbing, swooping bastards are not very good without Nick Dacos. But yeah, calves are a worry. You need them, but a little kick in the calf and it can turn into a strain. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to be careful with that. McStay's doing all right. Another 4 goals. Oh, look, the Dockers were good, eh? They got a very good team. Amos and Tracy and Voss up forward. Wow, with Bolton slipping in as well. They got good on ballers. Pearce in defense. They're looking good, but I just don't trust them still. They're mentally not as tough as the real good teams, but they might go close to the grand final. I take the Dockers to win. Might take the Dobbers to cover though.
Now, do you think that during the course of this year's fixture, can Fremantle develop that toughness to become a grand finalist? Do you think that they can galvanize themselves to be able to deal with those tougher situations that maybe they've struggled with in the past to actually take that next step and get past a prelim and actually get into a grand final?
Oh, absolutely. Get a few guest speakers come in. I'd say Malcolm Blight would be the first one I'd bring in. Make sure the players are tight off the field, like none of the players are banging their mates' wives or girlfriends, which we've seen in the past. All that sort of stuff really helps to keep the club together and bonded. And yeah, you're in a good team where you're really good mates with everyone. It does help.
It sounds like the discussion's going into where there are lots of very good mates there, here and there and everywhere. Uh,
Oh, well, we've got Wayne Carey's the obvious one, isn't he? Eh?
oh,
Holy crap!
I,
Anyway, times we got to move on, eh?
well, you're like a crocodile. Keep dragging me into deep water here with this.
I told you we're going to be different, mate. We can't be the normal, boring frigging show where the guys are scared to lose their media passes. I told you that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and we got North Melbourne and Brisbane at Barossa Park. What are you thinking on this one?
All right, the magnificent money that Pete, the Premier, spent lots of money on up there at Lindock. Oh, look, the Roos are coming good. I hope they keep going. Lions are favoured by 32.5 at this stage. I'll take the Lions to win. I might take the Roos to get closer than
Hmm.
that and could even cause an upset. But yeah, Sheasel, what a goal near the end. He dodged and weaved.
Yeah, yeah.
And mention Luke Parker. He was brilliant in defense in that last quarter. He just controlled that defense. Smart, very good player. The ex-Swan, Luke Parker.
Yeah, I'm going with Brisbane to win this one by about 3 to 4 goals. Also, I just think Brisbane's not going to forget the draw that they had with these guys last year. I bring Brisbane's going to make sure they don't let that happen because yes, the Roos have improved, I think, quite a bit, but again, they still have a tough road to home. I mean, their fixture coming up here, like over the next 8 weeks, they played like 6 of the clubs that would have been top 6 sides last year. I mean, it's a gauntlet that they're going to run through. If they get through, if they win a couple of these, they're going to be in pretty good shape to maybe find a spot in the 10. But they've got a really tough road to hoe between rounds 5 and round 13.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy. But yeah, I'm going with the Roos to not win this one. But so yeah, I'm going with the Brisbane Lions to win this one as well. I North Melbourne is fun to watch, and we're going to get to another club that's fun to watch, and I'm kicking myself for making that comment to you and sending you that email that said, "Hey, I'm switching my pick from Gold Coast to or Melbourne to Gold Coast." I'll t- I'll tell you, and Melbourne's playing Essendon. I'm going with Melbourne to win this one. I said by 20. I have a feeling it's going to, and Essendon got competitive with the Bulldogs yesterday. They kept it within 40 points. I mean, they scored 13 in the first half overnight, but Melbourne's ball movement was tremendous. I mean, it was like the ball was made out of molten lava, and you did not want to have it in your hands long. I mean, there were people that had it and it transitioned out of their hands within a second. there were passages of play where 7 or 8 different players were touching the ball in the span of 15 seconds. It was amazing. It was amazing to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, look, they're favored by 27 and a half. I
Mm-hmm.
guess 24, so I got to take the Bombers to cover that. Your boys, Cozzy Pickett second best, Max Gorn. What a legend.
Yeah.
I got to hand it to the Demons. They've surprised me. And
Yes.
cuz you changed your pick, we are now all even. The Bombers, not worth talking about them much, is it?
Yep. And now we get to arguably the 2 games of the round, if you will. Sydney and Gold Coast, first of all. And unfortunately, you're not getting a lot of Gold Coast fans likely traveling to the game, and maybe not a lot of Sydney fans traveling to the game. But if if game attendance was based upon the quality of the club, this is one that should be getting played at the Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
at Norwood Oval. That
Yeah.
only holds like 15,000 is my
Yeah.
guess, maybe 12,
Yeah.
10. Not sure now.
So what are you thinking on this one? This is going to be a gut check for the Suns coming in. I think the Suns probably thought we got a pretty good shot against the D's, and then they kind of stepped in it. What are you thinking on
Yeah,
this one?
look, if it was in Gold Coast, I'd take the Suns. If it was in Sydney, I'd take the Swans. Norwood Oval, you just don't know, do you? For that reason,
A
Swans
draw.
are favoured by 2.5, and you see I got my Ottawa Swans jersey on jumper, so showing them a bit of love. I'll take the Swans just, but that could be a tough one to pick.
That's
Best players. Look at this. Heaney, Warner, Grundy, Papley. That's a good sign for the
yeah.
Swans.
I did see a clip where um Chad Warner went in for a haircut somewhere, and one of his buddies, stepped in as kind of the barber and put the the sheet over top of him, and it had a West Coast Eagles jumper glued to it because everybody's speculating he's going to go to West Coast after
Oh, of
this year.
course. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. At least he got a haircut. Good
There
on
you go.
him.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I'm going with the Swans to win this one as well. I think it's Brody Grundy's been playing lights out, and I think he's just going to be, the way the rules are now. I think Grundy's just going to be quicker around the ground than Jared Witz. I mean, it's what's happened with your club's ruckman with Riley O'Brien. I mean, he's a quality ruckman, but the rule changes have, I think, passed him by. It's kind of
Yeah.
like that Twilight Zone episode, The Obsolete Man. It's you don't
Yeah.
want that big lumbering ruckman anymore. You need somebody who's got some wheels that can move around. So, all right, we got Hawthorn and the Bulldogs at the Adelaide Oval. What are you thinking on this one?
Well, it's a bit hard to tell because, like I said, we're recording this Sunday
Right,
afternoon.
right.
Not sure what's going to happen with the Hawks and the Cats. They'll be off a day or two shorter rest. For
Hmm.
that reason as well, I'm going to take the Dogs. They're favoured by 4.5. I picked them by 8, so I'll take the Dogs on the minus. Bontempelli best again. Lob with a short haircut, the blonde or whatever he's got, and Sanders. Sanders is a good young player, so Dogs are moving along nicely.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't see him going this well the whole year. But that's a beauty at Adelaide Oval.
yeah. I went with the Hawks on this one,
All
and I
right,
and I
good.
did that only because I don't know the severity of Tim English's knee injury.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
he is a tough player to replace in your lineup if he's not out there. So I went with the Hawks on this one. And again, I don't touch wood. I don't know if I hope everybody comes out of the Hawks and Cats game tonight, healthy. But I don't know the what it'll be for the Hawks players as well going into that. But as of right now, I'm going with the Hawks on that one. And then we got the Cats and the West Coast Eagles at Norwood Oval again. I'm going with the Cats by about 5 goals on this one. How much do you think that the Eagles are going to win by?
Well, the Cats are favoured by 42.5. I guess 36. I'll take the Eagles on the plus. Oh, look, it's at Norwood Oval. It's a smaller ground. The Cats might blow them away, but the Eagles hopefully recover from that belting by the
Hmm.
Swans. But let's hope the Eagles players listen to last week's show and they run after your Cats players and rip all their headbands off, and then they might get closer and maybe even win.
Yeah, I did see a Frio player, and I can't remember who it was. That had a really thick
Yeah,
purple
blue one,
headband on
wasn't
the
it?
other day. I don't remember who it was, but yeah,
Yeah.
I said I think we're both going Cats on that one. Then this one was a bit of a tough pick for me. So we've got GWS and Richmond. GWS is coming off the bye. They've got a ton of injuries. I'm going with the Giants. I mean, Richmond's three starting key forwards this past weekend had a combined 35 AFL games.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, one of the guys, I can't recall, one of the guys on, I think it was AFL Daily.
Hmm.
We shouldn't mention other podcasts, but everyone listens to that one, so that's all right. He said that the young Tigers players are not coming on as well as they probably should have, and a lot of injuries with these young high draft picks. But I
Yeah.
hardly ever watch them. I hardly know any of their players, I'll be honest, because I don't care for them. But good luck to them. Our Giants are favoured by 30.5. I guess 30. So
Wow.
that means I've got to take Tigers on the plus. But who knows? Brossard Park, Lindlock Oval. It's a beautiful field, but
Yeah.
you just don't know if they're going to party before and get caught up with some Aussie birds a couple of nights before, or if they all behave themselves. So it could be unpredictable, couldn't it?
Well, hopefully they didn't listen to what beaches they're supposed to visit while they're there.
I'll take
Um,
the Giants.
yeah, I thought you might on that one. Okay, the last game, St. Kilda, and this is the other crazy thing. Again, St. Kilda's coming off the bye. GWS is coming off the bye, and they're playing the last two games of the round.
Wow.
Get their asses out there playing a game early, and look at that fixture. I mean, I'm not going to figure out the numbers there, but the Crows played like a number of games in a compressed period of time. And the Crows are playing the first game of the gather round. You know,
Don't make excuses for them.
I'm not. I'm just saying, but
You are.
you're
Yes, you
you're
are.
giving
You did it again. You're
But-
making excuses for
no,
them.
no, I'm not. I'm simply stating when they played. I didn't say how they played. Just
Right.
stating when. GWS and St. Kilda are coming off the bye. Get them at the fucking front of the line here and have them playing. The first couple of games of the round. I
Yeah.
mean, if people are coming to the gather round anyway, they're going to get to as many games as they can anyway. I mean, the Adelaide supporters are going to go to the Adelaide Oval for their club's game, whether they're playing on Thursday night or Sunday afternoon.
Well,
Yeah.
just as well there's still petrol. You call it gas here. At least there's still petrol in Australia, so the people from Melbourne will be able to drive across. But Mum and Dad was saying that the hotel bookings and the
Hmm.
ticket sales is going to be affected absolutely
Yeah,
because
I
the
imagine.
war that's going on and the high gas price petrol. So it won't be as big a gather round as in the
Right,
past,
right.
sadly.
How's the train transportation, say, between Melbourne and Adelaide? Is it like, the Canadian Rail or Amtrak here in the US where you could, catch that in like a 10-hour train ride between the two towns?
No, it's non-existent.
Really?
Well, you can go from Perth to Sydney on the GAN, but no, there's no train. Not currently, maybe years ago, but no, you
Okay.
can't.
Okay.
So buses, you get buses. Buses will be popular.
Okay.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of coach buses going across. That's the way to do it. Get
Okay.
on a bus. But they bloody they stop too often. That annoys me when you go on a big bus trip. They stop every bloody 2 hours. But
Well,
anyway, Saints and Paps, eh?
yep.
Saints are favoured by 6.5. I said by 3. Oh shit! I can't take the Paps on the plus. I'll take the Saints to win over the Paps.
Okay.
Lukosius is back playing.
Yeah.
That's good to
Yes.
see because he's been injury prone.
Yep.
No, look, I'll take the Saints over the Pats, but that's a tough one. That could go either way, couldn't
Yeah,
it?
I'm going with the Saints to win it also. Yep, I am. Yep. All right, so let's get into your 5 slang terms here for
Hang
the
on, we
week.
got to do my lock.
Oh, yes, we do, don't we? Yes. Sorry about
All
that.
right, the lock. I'll go. The lock is Cats over the Eagles. The shock pick. Oh, the Suns are underdogs, so I'll pick that as the shock pick, but wouldn't be that much of a shock.
Okay.
The unpredictable games. The Pap Smears might beat the Saints, and the Dobbers swooping bastards might beat the Dockers. So there's a couple of unpredictable games.
My shock would be Richmond figuring out a way to beat GWS. That'd be my shock for this round. Yeah. Maybe. I think you're right, but that's why it would be a shock. That's why it would be a shock. Okay. So we're going to get into your 5 terms for this week. These are some interesting ones here. So the first one, short arms, long pockets.
Oh, that would be when you walk in a bar with 4 guys and there's always one guy that will never buy first.
Bingo.
And
Bingo. Yep.
then when it's his buy, oh, where is he? Where is he?
It's like the brother in Two and a Half Men.
Yeah,
John Cryer's character on Two and a Half Men was like that.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
Oh, he's never got any
Yep,
money,
yep.
and it's bloody expensive now if you're going around with four guys and you miss a beer. It's like,
I,
where is that tight ass bastard gone?
oh, right. Okay. What does it mean? What does it mean to have a Bex? Bex. What does it mean to have a Bex?
A Bex? I thought you said bet.
Bex.
Bex.
Bex. Yes.
No idea. Won't
Okay.
waste time. No idea.
Said to settle yourself down from some sort of stress, usually a cup of tea or
Oh,
to lie
yes,
down.
yes.
Because I guess it
I
said
think Bex is a brand, isn't it?
Yes,
Isn't
it said it
might
did
be a
say Bex
brand.
is some type of a drug. Yes. Yep.
There we go.
Okay.
It's a brand
All
of
right.
a headache thing or something. Yeah.
Here's your third one. Fit like a prick in a shirt sleeve. Fit like a prick in a shirt sleeve.
Well, I presume that's referring to if you got a Johnny Roger or a hard on in a shirt sleeve, it's probably jumping up and down everywhere. So it probably means you're very fit.
Well, what I saw was it was a very loose fit because because it wouldn't fill a shirt sleeve, if you will.
Oh,
Yeah. you were on the right track, but you were still thinking about Kylie Minogue. Okay.
That's funny because I got a list here, the top 20 most common Aussie sayings that I might test you out. And one of them is a stiffy. That was one of them.
You just answered it. Yeah. I'm going to guess you just answered that one. Yes. What does it mean to knock about?
To knock about, just hang around with a mate.
Yep. To wander aimless way, to hang around. Yep. Yep. And what is the duck's guts?
The duck's guts.
The duck's guts.
The duck's guts. Oh, look, I think I've heard that, but I can't recall. See, I need a trip home.
Yeah.
The duck's guts. Nah, not sure. Not
All right.
sure.
It means the very best. The very best.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Average.
Yeah. You did okay. You got the first three. So we're gonna give you the shirt sleeve one there. You
want a couple from me to you?
I will give it a shot here. We'll see how. I did see there's a gentleman by something Turnbull who's on Instagram who likes to poke fun at Seppos for their them thinking that wherever you go that people have to speak the American version of English, and he just likes to bash on them. And so I saw one of his posts that I thought was rather funny. He said, "Yeah, give me one or two."
Some shock ones or some? I'll mix it up. I'll give you some shock ones and some easy ones. This one, you need to know this one. You might not know it, but you need to know this one. Tea. What is tea?
It's like when you have like a break in the afternoon, you sit down and actually like get yourself a cup of tea somewhere.
No. This is what I'm trying to help you. Tea is the most common term for dinner. So instead of saying let's have dinner, we say tea. So there you go. You need to know that one.
I was in the neighborhood. I was looking across the neighbor's fence into the other yard where that one happened to be. I could see it, but I wasn't quite all the way there.
Yeah.
I give myself about 10% on that one.
All right, here's one. She'll be apples.
She'll be apples. Does this have to do with ripeness?
No.
Okay. I have no idea.
Oh, slightly. Everything's all right. She'll be apples. Everything's good.
Okay.
All right, couple of shock ones. Here's a shock one for you.
Oh, no.
A shark biscuit.
Oh, that means it's a surfer.
No, close, but keep
isn't that like a Bondi Beach surfer?
No, a shark biscuit. Kids at the beach.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was on the right track. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You were.
I was pretty close on that one. Yeah.
An ankle biter. What's an ankle biter?
That's like a little dog, isn't it?
Close as a kid, young kid.
Okay.
Ankle biter, child. And anyway, you might guess this one. Crikey. What's crikey?
Well, I mean, I have heard it so many times, with my kids growing up watching
Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
almost said Dundee, and I know it wasn't. Yeah, because Steve Irwin was a phenomenal guy. I
Yeah.
loved
Oh yeah.
watching it. I wish he was still around. He just
Oh
was.
yeah.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
It's like almost like, oh wow, it's almost like
Yeah.
a statement of
That's it.
shock.
That's it.
Yeah,
Expression of surprise.
yeah.
Absolutely. So there's a few. Well, the main one you needed to know was tea, because that would have confused you if someone said, "Let's go for tea." You would
Well,
have thought it's a cup of tea, not the proper dinner.
but it would have been. Well, yeah, but then as long as I keep my short arms, I'd be okay. So
Well, you don't drink. That's one good thing. We won't be
that
spending
is
as
true.
much
So,
money.
yep. So, Mick, where can people find what you got going on, and when are you going to have your clips from last year when you did the tour of the new facilities for Gather Round? When are you going to have that back up on your social media for people to check out?
Yeah, what I'll do, I won't do an edit. I'll just do a time start. So when you click on it on Facebook, it goes exactly to the point of
Okay.
the interview with Bobby Bilney, my mate who owns a business, and we kind of snuck in there a little bit early and wore the construction vest, and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Facebook, Mick Aussie, Instagram, Mick Aussie. No X yet because I'm still Elon Musk, unfortunately. And big news. Oh my God. Yesterday was a huge news for us on Facebook, Edmonton Cricket TV. Cricket Canada might be made defunct. They didn't turn up for a compulsory vote that the Supreme Court organised yesterday in BC. So disastrous. We got to get the current board members out. It's disgraceful. We've been talking about this for last year on
Mm-hmm.
Edmonton Cricket TV, and we have been the result of some changes because so many people read and watch our stuff on Facebook, Edmonton Cricket TV. If you want to learn about the disgrace that the board members at Cricket Canada and some of the provinces, what they've done the last, especially 1 year, it's absolutely terrible.
So, does this mean that it's just going to no longer be like the organization is going to no longer be sanctioned, or are they going to shut it down and just not have cricket anymore?
Well, what will happen if the legal system says it's not a legal entity,
Uh-huh.
then they won't get the government grants.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
that will not trickle down to the representative teams, so
Mm-hmm.
it'll cost them a lot of money. The only money they'll get is sponsorship and some from the ICC, but that
Yeah.
might dry up, which the ICC cut the US funding because of the corruption. So that might happen here, sadly. A whole new league might form, but might take 2 years to get all the legal stuff in process for a new league, and your government grants dry up for 2 years. So it's absolutely disastrous. These guys, the chicken shits, didn't even turn up for a Supreme Court sanctioned vote.
Mm-hmm.
Disgraceful. Read it on Edmonton Cricket
Yep.
TV. And my
I will.
boss, Philip Hicks, he goes off as well. So, but we're true. We do the facts because otherwise we could get in trouble, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you taking time out of your Sunday. I know that this is going to be a tiebreaker game for us at this point, because if I'm not mistaken, you took the Hawks in this game, and I took, of course, the Cats. And
Yes.
we'll see. This is a 1:15 a.m. start for me, and I am going to stay up and watch it live. Because that's what I do. Next week it's actually at 10:30 in the evening. It means it's an 8:30 in the evening game for you. The Cats and Eagles this weekend coming up will be 8:30 in the evening for you.
Awesome.
That is
Well,
great.
I hope you enjoy your tucker at tea time in Australia when you head there. Have a great week,
You
and
bet, man.
let's hope Bailey Smith did get his head shaved. See you later, man.
You bet. Cheers. Cheers, mate. All right, Mick, thanks for sitting down to chat today, folks. We finished recording about a half an hour ago, and I will be honest with you, I wish that we had recorded the last 20 minutes or so that we were chatting, because, well, I may not have a podcast anymore if we'd gotten that on air, but a lot of funny stuff that took place there during that discussion. So, Mick, I appreciate the laughs, man. I really, really needed those, and I appreciate your insight on checking statistics and such on things that people are check it out on social media. And folks, don't forget that if you are interested in getting your local footy club getting a shout out during an upcoming episode, drop me a note via email at ayankonthefooty@gmail.com or on any one of my socials. You can find those at ayankonthefooty.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn as well. I love being able to highlight those clubs. I know that local footy is getting ready to kick off here in the next few days, if it hasn't already this past weekend. And if you've got an idea for a great guest for the podcast, I do hope that you'd consider reaching out. I would love to chat with you and share your story. You can do that again at my website or by email. If you want to help out the podcast, you can leave a review over there at my website, or you could leave a note on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts would be a huge help. If you want to click on that Buy Me a Coffee button, that would be great as well. I do have a couple of new designs that are going to be going up on my store page, hopefully getting those out this week since I'm off from work, and hoping to have those for you. And if you've got a funny or burning question that you want to ask Mick or I for an episode, drop us a note on our socials, his socials, which will all be linked in the show notes for this episode, or over on my website, or ayankonthefooty@gmail.com. And if you're a North American footy fan, we'd love to hear your thoughts as well, because we're trying to grow this game and the interest in the game here in North America, as well as making those connections back in Australia as well. And look out for one another, ladies and gentlemen. Check up on your friends, make sure they're okay. If you need to talk to somebody, please don't hesitate to do that. Those numbers are in the show notes for every episode of this podcast. Please reach out if you need to do so. Okay, don't hesitate to do that, and look out for them. Get out and get that coffee. Go for tea, as we discussed earlier today there. But please, the world's a much, much better place with you in it. And I appreciate the kind words from all of you. And as always, and as Josh Tracy demonstrated this week, never let your dribble kick hit that post. I'll catch you later. And this has been episode 454 of A Yank on the Footy. Give me a follow on my socials. Get subscribed. Tell your friends about this crazy American who loves your game. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, cheers and goodbye.